What if one of the most pivotal moments in American history had never occurred? What if Abraham Lincoln, the leader who navigated the nation through its darkest hours, had survived the bullet that cut his life short in 1865? This single event altered not only the course of the nation, but the very soul of its people. To consider this is not simply to ponder an alternative history, but to grapple with the profound consequences that linger in the present. What might America have looked like had Lincoln been allowed to finish the work he had begun? The night of the 14th of April 1865, when John Wilkes Booth struck down President Lincoln at Ford's Theater, is etched into the American psyche. It was a nation already reeling from the Civil War's devastating toll, a war that had torn the very fabric of the Union. Lincoln, with his vision of reconciliation and healing, stood as a beacon of hope. His assassination left the nation shattered, unsure of what would come next. Lincoln's death marked more than just the loss of a leader. It was the sudden severing of a future. He was a man who saw a divided nation and believed above all else in the possibility of reunification. His ideals, rooted in compassion and a profound understanding of the human condition, were what held the country together during its darkest moments. What would have happened if that vision had not been interrupted? One of the most immediate consequences of Lincoln's death was the shift in leadership. His successor, Andrew Johnson, was a man of vastly different temperament and vision. While Lincoln had emphasized the importance of healing, Johnson's approach was far more lenient toward the South, granting pardons to former Confederates and leaving many of the old power structures intact. The harsh realities of post-war America, with its deep racial tensions and the battle for civil rights, required a more deliberate and measured approach. Had Lincoln lived, the process of Reconstruction might have been far less turbulent. He had already begun to shape a path toward the integration of Southern states back into the Union, one based on compassion rather than vengeance. Lincoln's capacity for empathy, his understanding of human frailty, and his desire to rebuild rather than punish could have led to a far different outcome. Would the racial tensions that haunted the Reconstruction era have been lessened under his stewardship? Would the lost cause ideology that permeated Southern society have been dismantled more swiftly? Lincoln's legacy is inextricably linked to the Emancipation Proclamation, which forever altered the social and political landscape of the United States. The abolition of slavery was the moral cornerstone of his presidency, and his commitment to the principle of equality was unyielding. But had he survived, would he have been able to push through more radical civil rights reforms? Would the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments have come into full fruition under his leadership, or would they have been compromised by political necessity and the slow machinery of change? The question of racial equality in America is, in many ways, still unsettled. Lincoln, a man of towering intellect and deep moral conviction, had only begun to address the profound injustices of slavery. If he had lived, could his presidency have been the catalyst for a more just and equitable society, one in which the rights of African Americans were not just recognized but actively protected? It is a haunting question, one that touches the heart of the American experiment itself. Beyond policy and legislation, the emotional impact of Lincoln's survival is deeply personal. He embodied the qualities of resilience, humility, and a steadfast commitment to the betterment of the nation. Lincoln's personal struggles, his grappling with loss and failure, his ability to navigate the darkest moments of history with grace are qualities that resonated with the American people, and they still resonate today. He was a man who carried the weight of the nation's pain on his shoulders, who wept for the souls lost on both sides of the war, yet he never wavered from the belief in a better future. Had Lincoln lived, what lessons could we have continued to learn from his character? In a time where political division, societal fractures, and inequality continue to plague the world, what would Lincoln's leadership have taught us about unity, compassion, and moral courage? Could his example have inspired generations to come, just as it still serves as a beacon for Americans today? Abraham Lincoln's assassination was not merely a political tragedy. It was an emotional rupture that left the nation to pick up the pieces. The question of what if lingers not just in the realm of historical curiosity, but as a profound reflection on the nature of leadership and the possibilities of a different future. What if Lincoln had lived? Would the nation have been spared the brutal legacy of Reconstruction's failures? Could he have steered America toward a more just and unified future? And, perhaps most poignantly, would his example of moral courage have been enough to guide us through the turbulent times that followed? As we reflect on Lincoln's life and his untimely death, we are left to ask, can we as a nation ever truly fulfill the promises he laid out of equality, freedom, and unity? Would the America of today be different had the man who embodied those ideals been allowed to see his vision through? What do you think?